evening, class. My name is Candace Davis, and today I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of school uniforms. By the end of this speech, you will know that school uniforms are the best option for student attire. All schools should establish uniforms as their dress code. The adolescent years are a tricky time for teens and for parents. Students are trying to figure out how to fit in and want to follow the latest fashion trends. But what happens when they can't keep up due to economic difficulties? What happens when those trends aren't appropriate for school? And what happens when parents still send their children dressed in those inappropriate attire? Clothing creates a lot of unnecessary issues in schools when the main focus should be on receiving an education. According to procon.org, quote, "School uniforms make schools safer for students, create a level playing field that reduces socioeconomic disparities, and encourages children to focus on their studies rather than clothes," end quote. Today we will discuss how uniforms help save time and money, how they create a better learning environment, and how they help curb violence. The information I'm going to share with you today comes from my personal experience as well as the National Center for Excellent Statistics, Marie Anderson's article entitled School Uniforms Should Be Required, Procon.org, and the American Presidency Project. Procon.org states that, quote, "Mandatory uniform policies in public schools should be found more commonly in high poverty areas," unquote. Uniforms save time and money. Students who can't afford to buy a different outfit for every day of the week or even for every day of the month can buy 3 or 4 uniforms and cycle through them as frequently as needed without people actually knowing that they're re-wearing the same outfits. This stops them from being teased. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, quote, 47% of high poverty public schools reported requiring school uniforms compared to 6% of low poverty public schools. Uniforms also cut down the amount of time spent picking out clothes in the morning. Some students will actually not attend class because they don't have anything to wear or because they feel embarrassed about their clothing options. When I was in high school, I've actually seen students get sent home or sent to in-school suspension because they were dressed inappropriately for class. That's time that could have been spent in class receiving an education. Not only do uniforms increase student attendance, they also have a positive effect on the learning environment. Uniforms create a better learning environment. One of the ways this happens is by increasing student self-esteem. When you don't feel embarrassed about your attire, you're more likely to draw attention to yourself by raising your hand in class, talking to classmates, and even making friends. Uniforms also remove perceptual communication barriers. Roy Lathan from Facts Logic Plus stated that, quote, "It encourages students to evaluate people by their behavior and personality rather than by their manner of dress." The learning environment is also improved because distractions are decreased. One of those distractions is bullying. Uniforms help curb violence. Over time, schools often see a decrease in crime rate due to uniforms. According to Marie Anderson, quote, "Long Beach United School District, California began requiring uniforms with the hopes of improving safety. Just 5 years later, the overall crime rate in the district was down 91%. Specifically, sex offenses dropped 96%, and the number of incidences of vandalism had decreased 69%, end quote. Wearing a uniform also decreases bullying and gang influence. Clothing is one less thing to pick on other students about. Gang members also won't have identifying symbols. Uniforms are usually well-fitting, making it harder to smuggle in weapons such as knives or bats. Not being able to set groups of people apart from the rest of the students is a great aspect of uniforms. But some people are more concerned about limiting the students' freedom of speech. Some argue that uniforms remove individuality from students. but I believe that the pros outweigh the cons. Individuality will shine through regardless of what a student will wear. They will wear their hair the way that they want to. They will wear different accessories however they feel. So a student can be an individuality. A student can be an individual no matter what. For all the benefits that uniforms offer, students can be individuals on the weekends. Today we talked about why all schools should establish uniforms as their dress code. To reiterate, uniforms save time and money. Uniforms facilitate a better learning environment, and uniforms help curb violence. Also, student individuality is a non-issue. In conclusion, I'll leave you with a quote from President Bill Clinton's February 24, 1996 State of the Union speech. Quote, "If it means that the schoolrooms will be more orderly, more disciplined, and that our young people will learn to evaluate themselves by what they are on the inside instead of what they're wearing on the outside, then our public schools should be able to require their students to wear school uniforms." End quote.